This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Okay, what can I help you with?
Okay, I made so many calls, and I'm not sure who I'm calling now because I watched videos and everything. I watched your video about the swing hinge, the bottom swing hinge. So I'm having a problem. I don't know where you're located, but I'm in California. So my question is, because the man that installed this hinge on my swinging door, I've lived in the same house for 45 years, rebuilt the house as it was going along because it's very French, very, Louis the 15th, and it had the swinging door. We added glass panels on the top, and it was working fine until we had a remodel down at that end of the house between the kitchen and the dining room, because that's where the door is, a butler door. And the remodel went on for 3 years because of COVID and everything. I stopped everybody coming in. Anyway, the door always swung, the way it's supposed to, in and out, and it had a 90-degree hold on one side or a 90-degree hold on the other side. No problem with it. But then after the construction, I don't know what they did, going in and out so many times. The spring, when it went in one direction towards the dining room and it had the hold, when you went to close it, to make it swing back to the center, it would make this very, very loud noise as if the spring had broken on the bottom. It didn't look like it was because the brass piece was taken off and the kick plate was off. But we lived with it for a while. We didn't finish the remodel till the end of 22, but my husband just passed away in December. And for 6 months, I was with him at the hospital. So I let everything go, and now I wanted to have this fixed again. And so I found that spring, but it's by Deltana. Are you familiar with their hinges?
Yeah, I would say I am.
Okay. And my door is a solid wood door. And like I said, we added glass panels on the top, but that was back in the 80s and still never had a problem with it until this construction happened. So we got this hinge from Deltana, and they said that it was the heavy-duty one, because the door is probably about 90 pounds. And I had a handyman, not a carpenter. What I resent, quite honestly, is the first handyman came in, at least he was truthful with me. He said, I've never installed a swinging, a hinge like that, and I don't want to do it if I'm not sure what's, going to be. So he didn't do it, and that was about a year ago. So somebody else recommended this other man. He came over. He's a young fella, maybe in his 30s. And he didn't say he never did it. He didn't tell me till after the fact. Then he said, well, I never did it before. Well, this door does not swing anymore. You have to push it, and it stops about at 45-degree angle, and then you have to push it to go to the 90-degree. If you go through it, it stops at the 45, and then if you want it to close, you got to push it close to the center. He's claiming, that's the way the hinge is. But I called Deltana, and they said, no, that's not the way it's supposed to work. So he had told me about watching your video. He had a blue shirt on, I believe. And so I watched it, and I watched many other videos, and I put calls in. And so they charged me $350 to install this, and he's not coming back to fix it. And the old one, it worked fine, except it made this loud noise when when you would take it to close it. So do you have any idea? Now, the man from Deltana said there was a few things that he felt was wrong. He said the door has to be totally leveled and plumbed. That's what he said. I wrote everything down, and I sent it to the young fellow, the handyman. The door has to be leveled and plumbed. There's no 45-degree. Because then when he left, he said, oh, no, that's an extra feature they put in, a 45-degree hold. Of course there's not. They said there is no such thing. The handyman, when he left, because I said, why is the door stopping here? Oh, there's a 45-degree hold and a 90-degree. And so when he left, he just left, and I didn't bother with it until we start going through it. And then when I called Deltana yesterday, she said, no, there's no such thing. And I spoke to a very nice man there, Pedro, and he said, no. He said the bottom tension has to be loosened. And then also when it does close to the center, the top, where the top pivot is, it rattles. And he said, well, the top door pivot is wobbling and making a rattling noise because the door is not balanced. So I sent him all this yesterday to the young fellow that did it, because he says, well, if I come out again, I could put the old hinge on if that's what you want. He said, but I got to charge you another $300. I said to him, he's crazy. I mean, if you do something that's not right and you're leaving a door that's not functioning now, you should fix it. So he said he called this morning, Deltana, and he said that it's because of the glass panels that we added on the top. I said, but those were added in the 1980s. Never a problem with the door. This is 2000 and, we start noticing it last year, 23, that it, was making that loud noise. I said, we never had a problem with the door swinging and closing and going back to the center. He said that the man told him, I'm reading the text he sent me this morning, that I'm so fed up with them. He said that the door, that I didn't tell the man at Deltana that the door was a solid wood door, that the doors have functioned for over 40 years with the old hinge. The glass panels were added in the 1980s. He's saying he's shocked that the door has worked because he thought it was a hollow door. But how could a hollow door weigh 90 pounds? So when I got your message just now, I thought, let me call you and see. Because I can't find anybody out here. Maybe you have some referrals of people that I could call to come and look at the door. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And now what he's saying is these hinges are used with doors that are hollow plastic. That's not what I was told. They're for wood doors, used mostly in commercial use and some residential. That's not what he told me. This is what the installer, the handyman, is. He's texting me this morning. Hardware is engineered to carry out function in a certain way with its specifications. The heavy-duty hinge is only rated to 90 pounds maximum, and that door is too heavy for normal operation. When he left that day, I called him. He did it on Friday. I called him on Saturday, or maybe yesterday when I was talking to Pedro in Florida. I said, what does a door weigh? Because I thought he was going to need two people to take the door out, and he didn't. He's a big boy. He's in his, like I said, late 30s, somewhere in there. He's tall. He's probably 6 feet. He told me it was between 70 and 90 pounds, 70, 80, maybe 90 pounds. Now today he's saying, oh, no, it weighs more than 90 pounds. So he's changing everything. Oh, and then he said adding the glass is what caused the old hinge to fail. But that was put in the 80s. It was put in the 80s. It never caused the hinge to fail. I mean, it went another 20 years and now until, another 35 years. He said these hinges are for light aluminum, stainless, wood hollow core, and solid wood trim with wood panel insert doors, not exceeding 90 pounds. He said it's a miracle the door lasted this long. This is not, so I was going to call him again just now because this isn't the conversation I had with Deltana yesterday. And now this is what, because I didn't pay him the $300. I said, I'm not paying you the $300 till you correct what you did, or let's find out what's wrong with it. It was working when you came, because he came first to see the door and then made an appointment to come back. So he knew the door was swinging back and forth. It was just making this loud noise on the hold. When it was holding on one side only, and then when you pulled it to, to release it to close to the center, it made this as if something was popping. So do you have any suggestions? I know I'm rambling, but I am fed up with this. I just lost my husband. I've got 2 daughters I have to take care of, and I don't need people like this. And I said to him, why didn't you tell me that you never installed a hinge like this before? I said, at least the person who was honest with me, he was truthful and said, I won't do it because I've never done it before. I said, you didn't tell me you never did it before. I said, until, after the fact, and it wasn't working properly. I mean, it's not working at all. I mean, you have to push the door, and then it stops at 45, and then you have to push it to 90, and then it just stays there. If it's at 45, when you go through a swinging door, it just swings back. This does not happen. So do you have any suggestions? I hope. He kept asking me if you had called back. That was the video he watched, and I said no.
He probably doesn't want me to call back. So, first of all, the gentleman is out of his depth, plain and simple. There are only so many fabrications that can be crafted before that hole is going to start taking on water. By the magical invention of the modern bathroom scale, you can easily determine the door weight, and you're right, it's 90 pounds. There's no chance that your door is heavier than 90 pounds.
No, he wouldn't have been able to pick it up by himself.
I don't know about that. Who supplied the Deltana double-acting horizontal spring pivot?
I did.
Here's simply the bottom line. The gentleman is not to be paid until it works. The definition of it working is that it will double act, it will come back to center, and it will hold open at 90 degree plus or minus in both directions, and it will do so without any noise beyond standard conversational decibel level. So I am intimately familiar with the Deltana DASH95. I am intimately familiar with what it's copied from. It is a piss-poor version of the original that has been an invention of the Bommer company going back to the 19th century.
Right.
I know Stuart Jackson, the name, the person whose name's on the patent, or at least the modern evolution. His same name is on the template. The bottom line is this: that item, when it goes towards the opening position, there is a lateral movement of the vertical post causing it to crack. It works, but it really, really cracks very loudly.
But it only started doing that the last few years.
How old is this DASH95?
The new one or the old one?
No. Forget the old one. Everything wears out. Forget the original Bomber.
Yeah, the new one, because I have the new one. I mean, the new one he just put in Friday.
Okay. So it's the new one that's cracking, yes?
No, it's not cracking. It's just not working.
Okay, so that is an Asian copy of the original. The caliber of the materials, the caliber of the engineering, the caliber of the workmanship is not on par with what you just had to remove after several decades of faithful service. So here's the bottom line. You bought that from someone. You clearly have a defective DASH95. Your installer probably won't take the lead on getting it swapped out, but you'll need to contact your distributor and say, listen, this is under warranty. It does not close back to center. It's been under typical residential use, and that you need a warranty claim. That door will have to come down. The hardware will have to get shipped to them, inspected, and they'll probably give you the opportunity to order a new one.
Okay, so you think that it's not the way he installed it? Because if I sent you pictures, in the bottom corner where the hinge is, it hits the wall. There should be an even space, I think, because I've done construction. Plumbing should be, all the way around the door, 3 sides, the bottom. Where the hinge is, that is hitting the wall.
What's hitting the wall? The door?
The door.
Are the screws loose?
No. He said, oh, that's the way it was. I said, I don't know. I never noticed it because all these years we lived here, it always worked. You know, if something works, you know, you don't bother with it.
Yeah, but the gentleman's also guilty of not installing it per the installation instructions, which I assure you does not include the door hitting the jamb. Do you have to have hold open?
Hold open?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
The door, when it gets to 90 degrees, do you need it to stay held open?
At times, but not very often. But it always
also
did.
said another way, can you live without it?
Can we live without it? Probably.
Well, here's something to consider. You toss that poor representation of the original. I have exactly one left of the original made in North Carolina Bommer 7800 series, but it's non-hold open. It's the same 90-pound, 3-foot wide thing. It's just non-hold open. The hold opens were gone a long time ago. I have one left. It's in satin bronze. You may have a choice of finish to a certain extent, but that would be buying more hardware.
Yeah. Now that I think of it, I do need the hold because at times, you know, when you're going through it into the formal dining room, you know, several people might be going through, so it would be open. Yeah. And so, yeah. And then sometimes we had it swinging into the kitchen and kept it open on that side. Like I said, I haven't done much, and I stopped all work, called my decorator, and told her, you know, we're not finishing anything when my husband passed.
Yeah, the problem that you put yourself in is that you supplied the hardware. So as a result, the onus is on you to get the warranty claim run through. If the handyman supplied it, you know, it's like he's a concert violinist and you handed him sheet music that was fly poop. He just played what's in front of him.
Well, before I ordered it, though, he came out and I showed him the papers that another carpenter over a year ago, you know, said, oh, I found the hinge that will fit in there, and it's heavy duty. So I had a picture of it, and I showed it to him, and it had the measurements, and he measured down below, and he said, oh, yeah, that'll fit in there. And I thought he knew what he was doing, you know. So and then he said to me, you order it. He told me for me to order it. I thought,
that's a natural defense.
Yeah, so I said, okay. I said, I'll order it. You know, that was fine. But, I mean, nowhere does it say in the video or the directions that there's a 45-degree hold. And he's telling me when he left. I mean, I said to him, you know, I did construction for 3.5 years. I fired my contractor after a year and a half, and I became the general contractor. I had the Kardashians. You know who the Kardashians are. They live near me. They all quit her, but they worked for me. I became the contractor, so I do know about this stuff. Not everything, how it should be installed, but I know what's right and what's wrong. And he's trying to tell me, because when I went to try it, I said, well, let me try it to see how it's swinging, and it's not making a noise. And I said, what is this? Why is it stopping? Oh, they put in another feature that it stops after 45 degrees. And I said, well, why would they do that? But I haven't been feeling well, so I just let it go, and he left. But then as we were going through it, because my daughters live at home, and we were going in and out, we use that door a lot. I said, what is this? And then now it's not even closing to the center. If you open it from one side, if you come in from one side, it'll stay past the door on one side, or if you go the other way, then it stays past the door on the other side, so it doesn't even go to the center. He had said, oh, you could change the tension on the bottom. I went down on my knees and took the thing, changed the tension. That didn't do a darn thing. I asked him why, when it does hit the center, I said, look, the noise I'm hearing, this wobbling up on top where the pivot is, you could see the door is, you know, banging against it. That's the noise. He said, oh, that's just the way it is. I said, I never had it before. I'm in here 45 years. It's going to be 46 years in August.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
So he was blaming it on, you know, stupid things. You know, 45-degree hold. Oh, in case you want more air to come in, you just want the door like that. So when my daughter was coming in with groceries last night, she swung the door and it stopped at 45. She went through. And to close it so my puppy wouldn't go through, I had to actually push the door to close it to the center. So it's not swinging. I said a swinging door is supposed to swing. So you're saying it's a defective hinge and not the way he installed it?
Well, hearing that the door is hitting the jamb is what it sounds like. That could absolutely prevent the door going to the closed position.
Okay, and not swinging. What's making it stop at 45?
The fact that the door is hitting the jamb when it gets to that degree of close.
Well, that's why I said to him, if you're trying to make a career of this and he's stopping, can you, refer me to someone else? And when he first came in, he's a very nice young man. He's married. He has 2 little children. I said, sure. Of course, I won't now. You come back until it's done right, and then you get your money. But he wanted his money. He kept sending me emails all weekend long, reminders. And then I said, I'm not paying you until at least let's find out what the problem is. And he said, well, if I come out again, I have to charge you again. I said, you're going to charge me again another $300? I said, I don't think so. So he apparently doesn't know what he's doing. He forgot. He kept saying, why do you keep mentioning the 45-degree hold? I said, because that's what it's doing. My daughter came in last night. Again, it stopped right there, and I had to take it and push it closed. It doesn't swing closed. You have to push it closed to the center. So.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please.
Tell the guy that tell the guy if he contacts you again, you'll contact the police. This guy is he's out of his depth. And then do your warranty thing, and then just try to find another handyman. Surely someone who's promoted themselves to the status of general contractor will be able to surmount a handyman installation.
Oh, I should contact well, I know a lot of contractors, so yeah, I was thinking of doing that. And then would it be someone that specializes in this hinge? I mean, I never thought that this was such a big deal. It's a swinging hinge.
It's too easy, this kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, not too many people have a house like mine because it's very formal, and and it's a butler door. That
hinge is like French fries at a hot dog stand. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. See, and he's trying to tell me. He sent me a picture when he texted me when it first happened, in Friday night or Saturday morning. He texted me and said, "Oh no, they don't use those anymore. This is what they're using." Those are the side doors. I have that going from my laundry room to my garage where the side hinge closes the door automatically. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't think he's ever worked in a home like mine. My house is $4 million. Of course, there's much more expensive homes around here. But he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's not, do you think I should call Deltana back again, and then you're saying that it's the fault of the hinge?
Well, no. What I said was, if the thing's getting to 45 and stopping, that would be something I would expect to observe based on what you said, that the door's hitting the jamb. That makes sense.
Okay. Now, he told me it always was doing that because he said, oh, feel this down here. There's like a little bump, like an indent in the molding around. I said, I never looked at it. Maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't. I said, I have no idea. I said, because, like I said before, if the door is working, why do you have to look at it? The only thing it was doing was making this horrible noise, when it was on hold and he had to grab it to let it swing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have replaced it. I have the old hinge. I washed it because it was dusty and all that. It's made very well. Where were those made? Those original ones? Do you know? Because this one's probably made in China.
Oh yeah,
Where?
No. Landrum, in the Carolinas. Bombers.
Oh, here.
Oh yeah.
They were made here. Yeah.
Staunchly American made.
Yeah, it's a solid piece, and then the other thing, he had a problem with the plate, that goes into the floor, because he said they gave him, because I had it in polished brass, and there was polished brass screws, but he said these were for a wood floor, and I'm on a foundation, so it had to go into cement. So he said he had some in the truck, just regular steel screws, I guess, chrome or whatever you want to call it, and he cut them to go in there. So the plate, I guess, is on correctly, but as far as being plumbed all around, it's not. So wouldn't that also throw everything off?
Doors must be true plumb, level, and square.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever saw him use a level. I mean, I watched so many videos the other day. This is stuff I don't want to know about, especially at this time of my life. So I appreciate the time you're taking with me Howard. Not Howard, your last name is Howard.
It's all good.
But the email and text he sent me this morning was, your door is this, and this. In other words, my fault, and I want my money, and I'm not going to pay him. I've never done this before. I've never not paid somebody. But I've never had somebody leave me with a door that I can't use. I mean, it's terrible. So I don't know so the only other one you sell, or you said you have the Bomber that doesn't stop, that has no hold, but what other one do you sell that has a 90-degree hold?
None.
The Stanley?
Only the inferior Deltana product is currently available on the market.
Oh, you don't? I thought Stanley had one. What was the one that you showed them?
The only people who make it is who do it is Deltana. Stanley's discontinued. McKinney's discontinued. Chicago Spring is long gone.
Okay, so the one you were showing in your video was the Deltana, because it looked like it was.
Could be. I've like I said, I probably have scores of videos on that.
Yeah, you do so many. Okay, so that would be the only one. And is that usually how they work, that they have a 90-degree hole, because you want the door to stay open if you're going through so many times?
That is the most common function, but Bommer made those in both functions. And, there are certain instances where a hold open would actually be quite a botheration, but that's not your application. Going in and out, you are going to want it to just stay open.
Okay. Sometimes we do leave it open. So you have one left, and it's a Bomber, and so why would I put that in instead of getting another Deltana? Just because the fact it's made well, much better?
In my experience, the rate of those that are classified as defective is harder to digest than having a door that no longer holds open. You could go through all this again, and then it's going to do that massive cracking sound that they do. And I've got a video on that as well, showing how the Deltana item doesn't work like the original Bomber. Because so many people say, wow, this isn't like the other one. Nope, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Do you think I should just let him put the old one back in?
What was the problem with the old one?
Only because it was making that terrible noise.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, after decades, everything's going to wear out and break down, and there's possibly the size of the bird's mouth when the lobe enters the hold open. When it wears away, it allows it to shift laterally, and that's what that cracking sound is. The Deltanas coming out of the factory are already doing that.
Okay, so could that be repaired?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Because that's what he had first said. He said, well, maybe I could fix it. And I said, well, if you could. But then he didn't even bother when he came. He just put the Deltana in. No. Okay, because this was, and it only did it on one side when it went towards the dining room and held. But when it went to the kitchen area, it didn't make it on that side, that loud cracking noise.
No.
But
yeah, if you get the old one and you study it, you'll learn a lot more about how those work.
Yeah. Well, you
I'd
could
be
see it's a much sturdier piece, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. No,
I mean, it was.
I've been to
amazing.
Bommer. I know the people there. My family have been selling Bomber since the mid 20th century, if not before.
Yeah, but what do people do though if there's no hold on it? It's
Not
just going to swing.
A lot of applications, they don't want that. You know, a commercial kitchen or a kitchen where they've used one of these, it holding open would be a problem. So they literally can't have that.
Well, I can understand in a commercial, right? You want it to open and close, right? Swing open, swing close.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to take up any more of your time. It's a nice surprise that you did call back. I was just checking my voicemail, and I will tell him what you said.
Especially the part about if he contacts you again, you'll call the police. Someone who is such a poet at lying, I can tell you I would not have them in my home, much less at home alone with my wife only there.
Yeah. I said, I just want to tell you something about myself after, this happened. And then I text him. I said, I'm not just a little old lady housewife. Because maybe that's what he thought, oh, well, she's older and she's, doesn't know what. I said, no, I've been a contractor. I did this work. There's so much detail in my whole home and in the kitchen area and just everywhere. Everything is French, but he's never been in a home like mine. Okay. So I will call Deltana back, speak to Pedro again, and find out what in the world he told Brian this morning.
Why bother?
Well, because I want to see if he's lying to me in the text, because there's nothing I hate worse is when people lie to me.
As a forensic witness in the case, I'm telling you, you're being lied to. So all you need to do is put a piece of paper between the jamb and the door. Open the door up and let it close. If the paper gets stuck, you're making contact. If you have that problem, the next thing is you have to mitigate that problem. Get the prescribed margin between the jamb and the edge of the door to what the template and installation instructions say. Once that's accomplished, you can then better determine if you have a defective piece of hardware.
Okay. But, when he saw it, because he wanted me to take pictures last night, and I did. And I took pictures of the whole frame. I took a zoomed-in picture of the corner where the bottom where the hinge is, because he didn't even put the plate on. I said to him, why aren't you putting the brass plate to cover it? He said, oh, the holes are too big now, from in and out. And I said, well, I know there's wood filler. I said, don't you have any wood filler on the truck? I've used it. Put some wood filler, well, I used to use it with my husband. I said, and then it hardens up. I said, then you could put the plate, the polished brass plate over so we don't see the spring, and then screw the screws in.
No, you want to drill the holes and put a dowel in there, and then re-drill and reattach.
Well, he should have known how to fix it, because he said to me, oh, you want these on? I said, well, of course I want them on. Why would I have brass plates, and now I'm looking at a black spring down there? Oh, okay. And then he did it, and he said, oh, the screws don't go in anymore. But I mean, if you're coming here to do a door and you see it's wrong, you don't just put that on and go, well, that's it. Fix the door. Fix the door if it's not plumbed all the way around. Maybe he doesn't know how to. I
don't think you should take this person in as your stray dog and try to rehabilitate them. There's too many things wrong here.
Yeah, I think I will call one of the contractors that I know. In fact, I know somebody that does remodels. He probably has people also. He flips houses. Okay, Howard. Richard, I'm sorry. I just circled your name, Richard Howard. Do you get that a lot?
I get a lot, and you'll understand it. What I get a lot is Ron.
Oh, Ron?
Yeah.
Ron Howard. Oh, Ron Howard, the actor.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
I
know him. Yeah, I know him. My husband was a TV director. daytime TV, so he knew a lot of these people. Okay. So again, Richard, thank you so much, and I appreciate the time, and I hope I can get it fixed because we do use that door.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to this young man and help show him the light if he has the courage to come to the phone.
Oh, could I give him your number, that one you gave me?
Yeah, but tell him I don't have a lot of tolerance for shenanigans. But I would be happy to help educate someone in the construction industry regarding hardware, which is how I make a living.
Right. That's what it sounded like, and that's why I put the call in, or I think I emailed something or filled out a form or something. I wasn't sure. And I told him yesterday, he said, well, did you speak to him? I said, no. I said, he hasn't called me back. I'm probably on a list. Okay, so I will give him your number, see what he says, and maybe he's going to say everything I'm saying is I lied. But I took video of everything last night, and apparently he didn't send them to the man, and because he's saying that about the glass panels, because they two etched glass panels, which are beautiful up on top, because there was wood panels there, and I took them out. This way when you go in and out, you can see who's coming in, and you're not banging into each other. But they're there since the 80s. He's making the man at Deltana understand that they were just put in, and that's why, the door's not working. No, that's not what happened. So, okay. Thank you, and I will give him your number, and hopefully he'll tell you the truth.
I look forward to it. I mean, it's one way or another, something's wrong, and I'd be happy to help get to the bottom line in terms of what's wrong.
Right. And if he wants to build his business up, this isn't the way to build it up. But, when I've had things go wrong in the past, even with a plumber or whatever, they come back until it's done, because they want to fix it. They don't want a bad name saying, oh, well, I just did it and then I left the job. A lot of my people, do you know who the Kardashians are?
I'm familiar with who they are. Who in America isn't?
Yeah, the mother, she lives near here. She's the problem child. It's the mother. And several people that worked for me during the construction, they said she was so bad to work for, they quit. The plumber quit, the carpenter quit, the person with the marble floors quit, the wood carver quit. And they said they couldn't take working for her anymore. Just because you have billions of dollars doesn't make you any better than someone that has $1 million or $1,000. So I've had competent people here. I mean, and yet they work for me because, they did a good job, and I treat everybody nicely if they're nice. So anyway, okay, I will give him your number and see what he says, if he wants to call you or not. What time is it? But what's the difference in time now? Because it's almost noon here. Are you?
Yeah, I'm on Eastern time, so I'm.
Oh, you're 3 hours ahead.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
In Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida also, as Deltana. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm probably 100 miles away from them.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. So it's 3 hours away. Okay. Okay. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Oh, you bet. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.